भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमि स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Let us now pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms, thou art the origin and goal of all, thou art the self of all, thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful, may the wicked become gentle, may all creatures think of mutual welfare, may their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Let us feel as a steadily burning candle flame, and let us concentrate on that. As we concentrate, we can see the flame becoming brighter and brighter, bigger and bigger. Soon I see it has enveloped the whole existence. All is light. There is no separation, no I and you. No I and world. All is enveloped in that one without second existence. There is no time and space. There is no multiplicity. No coming or going. All is the one eternal existence itself. There is no idea, no concept of quantity or measurement. It is limitless. There are no parts. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear friends, the idea of this topic actually came, I had forgotten why I thought of this topic. But it happens, because that happens about a month or two before, and then I forget how did I choose this topic. But then it again, just about an hour ago, it came back. So it is, the thought was that always there are the discussions, especially when I go to some interfaith movement or to schools, and then they talk about the polytheistic faiths and the monotheistic faiths. So is Hinduism polytheistic, or it is monotheistic like the Christianity or Judaism or Islam, or is Hinduism monotheistic like them, or is polytheistic? So it was hard for me to bring this point that there is no number about God. There is not that there is one God or many gods. God is beyond numbers. And many found it very hard to fathom this idea that there is something that is not one, not many, not zero either. They can understand zero in a somewhat skewed sense than what actually Buddha means, that there is emptiness, that God is non-existent, zero. That is not the idea there either. So one can see how our brains are constrained by the number system as such. A child starts growing, a baby understands quantification. Even a baby may not be able to count in the sense that we count, but there is the idea of quantification. One and not one, but something different. That is, there is the example that there were many people being fed, and the mother of a baby was serving everybody a big Indian, that laddu, Okay. And when she came where her own little child was sitting, Then she saw that this child is not able to eat that big thing. So she took a piece, small piece, and put in the plate of the child. But the child thought it to be terrible injustice. What do you mean? Everybody is getting one laddu and I am getting a broken piece. That much the child could relate to. So now the mother saw that how to specify the child. So she took that small piece and rolled into a full ball and gave. And that for the time being satisfied the baby. That okay, everybody got one, I too got one. So it is, the quantification is in human nature. Not only human beings, this study has revealed that almost all other known creatures have some idea of quantification, measurement, numbers and so forth. In fact, some birds and certain species of dogs, they are able to do addition and subtraction also. So there is that level of intelligence where the quantity, the number and all can make sense. Not only exactly as we human beings do, but that is sufficient for their needs, as it were. That so this number is seems to be central to human thought. It is a central, and I am using this word deliberately. It is the central limitation or confinement that human beings have to experience the reality. It is our brain is constrained to just use numbers. It is not all our science, mathematics, even the regular life, like when you go to say buy groceries, there is the number system comes there, that how many eggplants you are buying or how many pounds, all that. It presupposes our understanding and our reliance on numbers. It is the numbers, of course, has various dimensions too. That it is the numbers means in the field of say intensity, that there is you measure it not exactly the number but the temperature, for example, that how hot or how cold thing is. Then you again have to use numbers. You set a unit of temperature and then say this is at this temperature is 110 Fahrenheit. It is you set a unit and then how many units. That thus it again everything is brought to numbers. So and therefore even as to God we have the idea that numbers, and our logic is actually number, that we go from say step 1 to step 2, step 3. It is the logic depends on our sequencing, which depends again on numbers. So the number is central to our logic as well. It is the human beings have a particular way of logically understanding things, and somehow we tend to think that that is perfect, that is the truth. But it is limited by our number understanding. So it is impossible for us to do anything without it. But we feel the limitations of it. When we use numbers, long ago in the human history, the numbers, as we know, are the natural numbers, 1, 2, 3 and so forth. Then God added one further something, that is the zero. It is that suppose you remove 1 from 1, something, what is left? 0. So instead of 1, let that be the starting point. Then there is the negative part of it, that it is -1, -2, like that, minus negative numbers, that one can start seeing. The negative numbers came into human understanding mainly because the practice of lending. That it is, suppose I lend somebody 5 oranges. Okay, I am giving you 5 oranges. Now, it is that the person would say that, well, my 5 oranges have been loaned to somebody. Now, that person loses those 5 oranges, eats them or gives somebody or whatever. Now the question is, how many oranges that man has? Has he got 0 oranges? How many oranges that fellow has? -5, because after he gets 5 oranges, he will have to return those to that fellow. So he has got -5 oranges. So that is how the negative numerals came in our understanding, that minus. It is otherwise not easily understandable if I have only 2. I was finding it quite hard in my early school days. What is a minus number? I used to kind of argue with the teacher that some problems, if you have, say 7 oranges and then you actually owe somebody 12 oranges. So how many you have? So I said, but how can you subtract from 7? How can you subtract 12? It is not possible. It is all silly. It is meaningless. It is, how can you, there is, but there is that the quality of an abstraction in mathematics. You have the abstract matter, these things, concepts. Concepts are abstract, of which there are the concrete representations. So, minus is an abstraction, but it has concrete examples to illustrate that. So, that became a point in the number system, as it were, that you have this minus and numbers. The numbers, they became more and more in a way creative, more and more complicated numbers began to come up, although the basis remained the same, the natural number system. And we cannot get out of that principal constraint at all. We worked on the fractional numerals. Fractional. That also came, when you have a unit. Then if somebody doesn't want a pound of tomatoes, but less, now you have to divide that 1 pound into fractions. So 1/2 of a pound. So that 1 divided by 2 half. So such numerals came up that the division can go to any extent. And so that idea spread the number system into a tremendous variety as such. You have these natural numbers that you use for 1, 2, 3, 4, most natural. That it is, and how that counting goes, that also is very interesting. It is specially pointed out by that mathematician Cantor, that how and he used that principle in proving some of the interesting theorems in this numbers. So the idea is that count. One example given is that this shepherd had many these sheep and goats. Now he said, one of my sheep is lost, one didn't return. Then somebody said, you didn't go to school, how do you know counting? Do you know counting? Said, no, but then still he insisted that one sheep is missing. How? He said, I have got all these pegs. And every peg has a goat and a creature tied to it. Now there is one peg and there is no corresponding sheep to it. So one is missing. So that is how even you see that kids are taught counting like that. That okay, 1, 2, this is the easiest count that we have. That is how the decimal system became popular. 10 fingers, so easy to count. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then put, one apple here, 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 here. So you know the apples and the fingers of a hand, they are same measure. Of course, they are different things, but there is a measure that is same for them. You eat apples, you should not be eating fingers, but it is, unless they're those things that you call finger of a pie, then you can eat that.
Lady fingers.
Ladies' fingers, okay. Yeah, so, but otherwise the correspondence, the counting is this correspondence, that these are same, quantity-wise these are same. This is an abstract principle really, but that was so important in taking these ideas of number further. What is done is then you determine this is the principle. Now you generalize beyond its original scope and then derive many things from it. That okay, that there are these, how many natural numbers are there? There is, many are not aware of this, but this is an interesting study and very spiritually very important to see that these are all within a very limited area of perception. That it is, we have the consciousness, there is that, like we were meditating, the all-pervading. There are no numbers there. There is no numbering, no quantity. It is that is, that's all. There is no quantification to it, no numbering possible there. But then this is numbering. There are many scholarly articles that about the psychology of numbers, how our psyche gets into this number idea. It is one thought is it is based on our multiplicity in perception. One of the primary hypotheses in arithmetic is that there are distinct objects, distinct things. If there are no distinct things, no scope for mathematics or for that matter any science, for that matter no ordinary human functions are possible there. So that is the state of samadhi where the multiplicity completely disappears from consciousness. One close example is when we go in deep sleep. Then there is no multiplicity felt. Of course, it is just kept in abeyance, not that it is eliminated. Sleep is not samadhi, but the machine of multiplicity is temporarily disconnected. Like when all of us go from here, then we will switch off the lights. Now, not that the light bulbs or other instruments, they have become defunct. Not that the electric current is not there. It is temporarily with a switch stopped from entering the instruments. So in the sleep, that is what happens, that there is no, instruments are not connected, and so therefore no multiplicity. It is the fundamental concept that we see distinct things, and so this and this. And then there is, along with that kind of quantification, there is another quantification. Now, just to give you an example, there is a gold coin, and then there is just a exactly similar size piece of wood. Now, this is one, that is one. But when it comes to valuation, what will you choose, Vishwanath?
Gold.
Gold, because you value, the value in your understanding is more. So there the difference comes, probably a woodchuck will not be interested in the, it will see that the wood is better. So it is like that the how much value we put on something, that also is that quantification, and thus it gets a number. It is the how much it is. We are not satisfied by just saying a lot or very little. We want to have a precision, and so the 1, 2, 3 not precise enough. So fractions came into existence. No, not tell exactly how much. 1 and 17 by 19, something like that. Yeah, 1 plus that much. Not 2 exactly, but a little less than 2. So make a precise. Sometimes in the decimal system, they say it is for certain like this spaceships flying. You have to be so accurate at the angle that 1 in 10 millions, that much accuracy has to be there for that. So such fractions are seen. So one great idea about this set of fractions is that set of these natural numbers. How many are there?
Infinite.
Infinite, yeah. The word infinite only shows that we cannot count it. We will not be able to count to the end of it in principle. Even suppose you have a life of 5,000 years and you have no other job but to keep on counting, still you will not in principle come to the end of it. So that is the natural number, they are infinite. But suppose you choose only the even numbers. How many will be the even numbers? Infinite. Which will be a bigger set, which will be the bigger number. Can you tell which will be the bigger number? The all numbers or only the even numbers?
But if it's infinite, how can you...
You may say that the set of all numbers has more numbers because the numbers, say for example 3, will not occur in this set of only even numbers, but every digit in this set of even numbers will occur in the set of all natural numbers. So which is more? And there this technique was used, that okay, let us count like that shepherd kept the count. So can we have a correspondence and then say for every number you attach that number like the pole for those sheeps. So for every even number you attach that particular twice that number and vice versa. So like for 1 you tag it to 2, for 2 you tag it to 4. See, 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 3 to 6, 4 to 8, and then you will see that everything gets tagged. So you know now that the number of even numbers, sorry friends, it is going to be a little technical but funny. So the number of even numbers is same as the number of the whole. Both are infinite, but then came a big problem, or let us say a big discovery, that infinite has actually more or less also, more infinite and less infinite. That was the great discovery by George Cantor. Cantor was a mathematician, and he deeply investigated this idea of infinity and numbers. How can there be many infinites? He showed that yes, if we use this technique, then there will be many different types of infinite. Different, one infinite lesser than another infinite. And that again will be lesser by another infinite. There will be an infinite numbers which will have a hierarchy, like you can say 2 is more than 1, 3 is more than 2. So similarly there will be infinite 1, infinite 2, infinite. It is, and I will briefly demonstrate to you how it works. I am not going to give you any proof or any such thing, but just telling things very interesting, and then I will see what it really means for a spiritual seeker. That if you see that the set of all these fractional numbers included, that set is called a set of rational numbers. They are all rational numbers. And as against these earlier sets that we saw, the set of natural numbers, or set of even numbers, or set of, say, odd numbers, they are all infinite. But this set of rational numbers has another unique feature. Those sets, that natural numbers and so forth, are discrete sets. That is, between one natural number and the next natural number, there is no other number. But here the matters become very interesting, friends. That between every two rational numbers, there will be infinitely many rational numbers. Infinitely many. That, see how many rational numbers you can fit between 1 and 2. You can go on dividing, that, and thus infinitely many rational numbers will get fitted in between. So, in mathematical terms, and you can easily understand that's actually a natural word, it is called a dense set. Not dense in somebody is dense in the brain, not in that sense. It is dense, means between every two rational numbers there are infinitely many rational numbers packed. Wow! Now, is it a bigger set than the set of natural numbers? And it was proved by Cantor, no, that also has the same number. You can tag. It is a little complicated, but aesthetically very beautiful proof that even this dense looking set also is, you can make the correspondence between natural number and every rational number. You can have the correspondence there, and thus it can be shown that their number is actually same type of infinity that they are having. Up to this, it was nice. I am giving you a brief history of this human number inventions. But then came up, this was going on even in the Greek times, that there is the idea of irrational numbers. The name irrational gives a wrong connotation. Irrational only means that you cannot show them as a ratio of two natural numbers. That is the only, they are not irrational at all. But they are matters of our everyday use. But it was so difficult for people to accept it initially. It is said that one Greek person, he was mathematician or not, probably was punished or killed there in the because he demonstrated that square root of 2 cannot be presented as the ratio of 2, and that is a very easy proof. In the high school probably they teach these things, that how square root of 2 is not a rational number. It cannot be shown to be ratio of 2 natural numbers. It is therefore it is irrational. But then Greeks were very much into everything has to be rational, and so that fellow was punished. Later on Pythagoras did that, showing that suppose you have a triangle with two sides, say for argument 1 inch, and then the hypotenuse of that what will be the length of it? It is square root 2, it cannot be measured exactly in the system that as the ratio of two natural numbers. It is, they did not punish Pythagoras for that because there were so many credentials that Pythagoras had already achieved. Then it was discovered that most things that we encounter in life, they are like irrational, like the pi, the ratio of the circumference of a circle and the radius. It is called 2 pi. It is twice of pi. It is the this diameter and that divides the circumference. So it is for engineering purposes, for where there is the exact, so much is not necessary. They say pi is 3.14. So here they celebrate March 14th. March 14th as a pie day. Go and eat pie, like that, that is the idea. So being a pie day. So it is, but that is not an exact count, It is impossible to do that because it is irrational number. Now the question came, is the irrational numbers, they are infinite, but whether that infinity is like the natural numbers, same type of infinity? And it came as a big shock. No, it is bigger. It is much bigger. Irrational number, the set of irrational numbers is much, much bigger. It is uncountable in the sense that even if you try to connect the natural number to every irrational number, you cannot exhaust that. It is a very interesting and again, aesthetically speaking, a great proof presented by Cantor to show that that is a bigger infinity. Now you see, we have now encountered a bigger infinity. That it is infinite again, are therefore just our common understanding gets baffled by this. That how can there be more infinities? Well, this is the way you can show that there are more infinities. And then again there are further ways to construct bigger and bigger infinities. I don't want to go into that details. What I mean to say, it is that like irrational numbers. Therefore, our thinking can be rational, but our behavior is irrational because irrationality occupies the bigger part of our life. It is. You can test it, in our day-to-day behavior. You can put it to test that yes, since our logic goes according to just the natural numbers. I spoke about it earlier, that 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps, it appears very logical. That is how our understanding, our argument, our logic goes. But when it comes to behavior, do we stick to that logic? Hardly. It is, and therefore that becomes corroborated with this fact that the irrational numbers are much bigger. So our behavior also in greater part is irrational. It is nothing strange about it. If we see how we may proclaim, I am having scientific mind and so forth. It is so long as it is confined to your thinking, that is fine. Come to behavior, it is very different. When you perceive, that is, there is no multiplicity as such, even in just perception, when you want to make a sense of it, then the counting comes. Then it becomes, subject to this quantification, counting and so forth, and it gets thus, what happens to the thing gets really mutilated by that. By our process of quantification, the thing that was otherwise divine, now it becomes a number, it becomes a quantity. It is the divinity, the God that transcends all this, that becomes then constrained by this number. And therefore it is always the attempt of those who work more with feelings than thinking. We have both these faculties, feeling and thinking. The thinking goes for having or making science, mathematics and science. Our thinking faculty, which is just enumeration, numbers, that goes to make that. Whereas the feeling faculty generates art of various types, It is, and that transcends numbers. Art, therefore, tries to show that it is in an artistic way, not by counting and all that, but it transcends logic, it transcends thinking. One of the comparatively recent best example is that of Harry Potter boarding a train at platform 9 3/4. We don't find, have you found, Paul, anywhere a platform number on the train? No, that is, you will have platform 1, 2, that ticket man, the railway authority, tells this little inquiring boy that where is platform 9 3/4? Crazy. It is, you can go to platform 8, that makes sense. Go to platform 9, that makes sense. But because our thinking is constrained like that, it is, we cannot make sense of it, but we feel it. We feel it. And that is what the art depends on, that feeling faculty. And so many of these things that science finds it hard to think about, the art presents it. Art just presents it. And then you have to therefore feel it. You cannot logically analyze art. It is what it will destroy the art. One musician was telling me, and it is a very nice, the conversation was very good, that he said that you can have these, exact notes, the exact frequency of that notes, also the beats and all that, you can have an exact number of that, but it is that music? No, that also is not music. It is, anyway, so it is, that is not music. Music cannot be confined to some mathematical or these calculations of frequency and all that. That will be very exact, but yet not music. Music, the feel of the music transcends the counting of it. So if you just present it as a counting, there is the feeling aspect, and therefore the art aspect of it will be removed from it. In a way, the life will be removed from it. So, therefore, the feeling faculty, it transcends the thinking faculty. And then, therefore, there is this great statement that God can never be realized through intellect. Can never be realized through intellect. You use intellect for warding off other things, that may appear like God, that spiritual. Use intellect to get out of that. But God cannot be caught in that. How to get it? It is all mentioned that it is through love you can approach God, not by logic, not by intellect. It is a common assertion made by all sages, saints. It is, you read it in the great Kathopanishad, Naisha Tarkena Matirapaneya, that this understanding cannot come through logic, through ratiocinations. You cannot get it. Na bahuna shritena. Even if you read lot of books, many say that, okay, can I read this book and I will understand everything? Well, read it, it may be helpful for you, but reading alone will not make you get the substance of it. Then how do one get it? How does one get it?
Go beyond the mind. Go beyond the mind.
Yeah. Says there, that Kathopanishad says, thank you Vishwanath, the teacher says there that look, it is yameva esha vrinate tena labhya tasyaisha atma vivrinate tanum swam. A statement, that is very difficult to exactly translate into English, or for that matter, even in Sanskrit, these words will not make any sense except to those who are lovingly practicing the presence of the divine. For others, this statement also, if you try to analyze it, you are destroying it actually. It is not possible to get the idea that it's what it says translates like this, that the one who aspires for it, who has taken this as the goal, all and all in life, to that person, that person in turn, this is a little nice twist here. Not only this person is choosing that truth also, that God also chooses this person and reveals itself, whatever you may call him, her, it, there is no word for it, and then there you go beyond all counts. There is no counting there anymore. There is no one or many. Therefore, the word that the Vedantists use is not one but non-dual. That there is no multiplicity in that awareness. So, it just is a revelation. So, one has to go beyond the neural network for that. It is the spiritual practice essentially means going beyond the neural network. It is the neural network always is confined to numbers. That is what it is going to do. You will be debating on is God one or two, what is more beneficial to have one God or many gods. If one God is more beneficial, then 10 gods will be more beneficial, isn't it? It is, one argument given by some Hindu who want to defend themselves against this. You are polytheistic. Okay, suppose we are. How does it hurt? Your one God gives you so many things. So we have 10, 20, 50 gods, 33 millions of gods. So how does it hurt us? It should be rather more beneficial, isn't it? Yeah, the more the merrier. It is. So all this is confinement in the neural network. We are limited by that. And so the concept of numbers, when we try to analyze, look into it, tells us that you have to go beyond this. Otherwise there is no realization of God for us. We will be confined. I remember I had given a lecture, Sunday talk, on a topic which is very similar. Although the title was different, it is, the title was Quality and Quantity. And that was one of my teachers had mentioned this very beautifully, that quality is divine, quantity is human. So to get to divine, we have to step out. We have to step out. Beyond this limitation of quantifying everything. This quantification is destructive to the spiritual practice. It becomes then a quantity. How many times you did mantra? Quantity. You get limited by quantity. It is not that you do it, okay, you do 1,000 times, but that is a matter of discipline for you. Not that it is a course, that it is okay, 1,000,000 times you do the mantra and then the God has to come before you. No, it is beyond all quantification. So one has to be ready for that. I am not sure how much I have been able to make this idea understandable without being too technical. There were some technicalities involved, but not much. I did not tell any equation or did not write any. I said square root, but I did not try to evaluate that. So, but this fact remains, friends. Let us hold on to it, that we have to learn to see the divine, that is quality. Divine is quality. Just try to make more, less, it becomes quantity. So we have to therefore go beyond this idea of neural network that just quantifies things. So thank you very much, friends, and just think of this for 30 seconds, and in case if you have questions, please feel free to give voice to them, and we will try to discuss that. I don't know if I'll be able to answer, but if you have question, okay. Yes, please. Any question? Nobody has question. Oh, Prithvish has a question. He always doesn't have questions, but today he has a question.
Yeah.
A very intelligent person.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know if this question maybe common. George Cantor became very depressed and mad towards the end of his life.
Yeah.
Could it be that his intellect pushed him to a region and so that he got a peak of transcendental reality, but he could not reconcile with his thing. The same thing happened to Godel also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could it
Yeah,
be like this?
it is very possible what you say is that because you get a glimpse of that truth, and then because of your training, you try to fit it in your mathematical formulation, and then it doesn't fit. You try to then more sophistication is put into it, and still you see it cannot be fitted, and thus one becomes depressed. Actually, the Cantor has these two levels of work. One was this mathematical work, which has lot of philosophical implications. The second was his philosophical work. So when he used to feel depressed, that is what his biography that I had read says, that when he becomes depressed, in that depression he was not capable of doing any mathematics. And then, but his philosophical side would become more pronounced then, and he had written many philosophical essays also. Yeah, so that is true.
When Cantor had a breakdown, wouldn't you say that his inner being wasn't prepared to shift?
Well, one could draw that conclusion, as you say, that there was no guidance or preparation for that, and so it was very strange. So it could be termed as he in that mood of depression, when a breakdown, there was the glimpse of that superior, or let us say the reality, the truth, but there was no reconciliation with his other understanding. Yeah, that is essentially what Prithvish has mentioned. Thank you. So, any question there? No question there. Oh, you have a question, Sundar. He just arrived from... Huh? Who has? Yeah, Sundar. He just came from Atlanta, you know.
In Guru Maharaj's life, we see that Guru Maharaj doesn't have much like affection towards maths. Is it because of the reason you told, like the neuro, like we need to get out of the neural things, because he was always in that state? This is not much associated. Is that how we can understand?
You are very correct there. That is my understanding too. That Sri Ramakrishna found it very, very difficult to get into that numbers. Please do not confuse that he was dull-headed and all that. Yeah, oh, he could not do even this math. No, not. Actually, it is seen that he was fairly good at mathematics, common arithmetic. The lot of later research done by Swami Prabhananda indicates that he was not as the biographies have depicted, that and what that they just are telling his own words. The biographies that no, if somebody tries to do the calculation, they say my head is spinning, you know, it is. That is true, because he knew the truth and how poor a mathematical or numerical representation of it would be. So he would not do that. That is, I feel that what you say, you have understood it. My understanding is also similar. That is why he did not like into this, go into mathematics. Yeah. Oh, here he has. Yes.
Yes, so maybe a simple question, but I guess one thing that I'm trying to reconcile, based on your wonderful sermon here, is one conclusion then that the path of bhakti is therefore more superior to jnana, which is then based on reason and logic and intellect? Is that where we're coming to, or how do you reconcile that ultimately jnana can also...
That's a very good question, Apurva. Yeah, Apurva question. Very nice question. That it is, can we thus say that therefore the path of devotion is superior to the path of knowledge? I would suggest that path of knowledge is wrongly associated with doing this ratiocinations and lot of reading, and path of knowledge also actually means this, that remove the spell of duality on your intellect, and thus you go beyond intellect. That actually is the idea even in the path of knowledge. So the methods are different. Path of devotion is most suitable for almost all people. But that doesn't mean that it is suitable, but the devotion doesn't come that easily. Thinking comes more easily, and turning the feelings towards God is not that easy, because our feelings are all captivated by the sense objects. The objects that attract us, they captivate our feelings, and therefore turning the feelings to God is not as easy as it is thought. One has to work on that as well. But yes, in a way, Sri Ramakrishna says that about he used to sing that nice song, that enough of this logical and thinking thing, that kaj naima gyan vichare, that no further thing to worry about this thinking and God is like this or like, yes, but make me mad, insane, de ma amaye pagal kore, pagal, oh mother, make me insane in terms of this worldly things. It is these worldly things, they really are about nothing, and that people think that it is wise. It is worldly wise, but so make me mad, make me insane, so that all my attraction goes to you, O Divine Mother, to you alone. Yeah, in that sense, devotion is certainly the most important way to follow. Yeah, thank you. So let us go to the closing prayer after I tell about the coming programs. October 16th, there is an important lecture by Dr. Sudhir Railkar from New Jersey. He is coming. I requested him to give this lecture. And that is where we were talking. One day he was here and he was talking about art. And that struck me, he is telling about this. He is an engineer. So he is giving this talk on art and spirituality. So that is next Sunday, same time at 5 p.m. So please make it a point to attend that lecture. Tuesday and Friday lectures will go on as usual. Tuesdays the topic is Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Fridays the topic is stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. So now I will read out. There are morning, evening meditations and all, they go on as usual. You are all welcome to attend all these programs. Let us go for the closing prayers. Please let us recite this closing prayer. All of you, as I don't hear many people reciting it. Read, let it be strong. May the Divine, who is Father of heaven of Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Now there will be Arati. After that you are all invited to join this soup supper.
Okay.
Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Auspicious and blessed, graciousness sublime, all lands to give to us, granted us refuge, all seeing glory. O Mother Divine, our love to you. Creation, preservation, dissolution, our hearts, eternal one. Nature's real basis, nature's essence. O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish. Be our Savior through your deep concern. All suffering, remove Goddess. O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Jai Shri Ram Krishna Dev ki Jai. Jai Shri Sadhana Devi ki Jai. Jai Shri Swami Vivekananda ki Jai. Jai Shri Buddha Dev ki Jai.